Welcome, a warm welcome to this week's BTO talk on generative AI, and digital transformation. My name is Michael Alf, calling from Lisbon, one of the co-founders of Beyond the Obvious, and I'm here with my two partners. Over to you, Rob.
Yes, Rob Thurner here in London, working with Cambridge Judge Business School on their digital disruption program and with clients, helping them answer the big questions about how they get going with GenAI. More structure around that in our session today. Handing over to Singapore.
Yes, Singapore calling. Thank you very much, London. This is Markus Keiper, professor for marketing at the National University in Singapore, and also helping clients in this part of the world and the Middle East to get ahead in the game with generative AI. Let's get started with our usual suspect. What's new in terms of technology and maybe customer use cases, Michael?
Yeah, thank you, Markus. So what I briefly want to talk today about is an interesting conversation I had yesterday with Dimitri Shabiro. He's the CEO and co-founder of Mind Studio. So what does Mind Studio do? Well, you can create agents. We spoke before how important agents are. They are becoming the new, let's say, tools and enablers across the business, by the way. So it's not only one area, it impacts everything. And we are not talking about these fully autonomous agents. It's more like kind of in Anthropic speak, the workflow agents, who can do a lot of amazing things. And they come more and more. And Mind Studio is a basically no-code, low-code platform, which really makes it relatively easy when you work with someone who knows what to do, kind of like we do. Then you can create something meaningful pretty quickly. And it was an interesting conversation with him for about an hour in terms of some of the use cases, the trends, and he has some amazing clients, enterprise clients, with his solution. So for example, Rob, you need to help me out here. His Majesty's, what's it called again?
Yes, this is the HMRC, His Majesty's Revenue and Customs, which is effectively the tax authority for collecting revenues and customs information.
As an example, so they use it a lot. New York Times using it a lot. So kind of big clients and all kind of smaller clients. So it's really, that's the nice thing. It's from a mom and dad shop to these massive organizations and across the world. And it's really accelerating the path towards embracing AI across the organization. And that's a great way. So that's one of the platforms. If you want to hear more, if you are interested to actually do that for your organization, reach out to us. What we can do is a 1 hour introduction, let's say lunch and learn or something like that in a virtual way. And then we do this session, of course, for free. And then you can see kind of what's in for you, if it makes sense, if you want to do that. And then we can go forward. So that's on the tech side. Rob, I think
I love that, Michael. I think it's a great idea, the lunch and learn. And I'm asked all the time, how can we find out more quickly, and not just by watching the video, but by having a Q&A, which of course a small group or a larger group in a lunch and learn webinar can do so well. So that's a great idea. I really like that.
So let's do that. So whoever is interested, reach out please to us, and we'll set something up. One of the things, Rob, and we've run kind of this really interesting workshop last week and a few others, and we see these topics in our client conversations. Markus, you too. One big topic which comes up, Rob, isn't it, is the question around AI strategy.
Yeah, that's right. And it's again and again. And what we're seeing, if we take a step back, is so many organizations now, the pennies drop. They've started with some experiments, but these are maybe not joined up. And the question as we start looking into next year and we're looking at budget allocation is, well, how do we tie all these experiments together, and how do we really commit to developing strategy which allows us to be iterative and keep going with experiments, but bigger picture, how can we work together in a more coherent way, unlocking budget, of course, but critically using the right technology and bringing on board the right leaders. I'm working right now on a proposal for a board of one of the banks, and they're bought in, but they don't know exactly how to progress and the word strategy comes in. So, Michael, in that context, what's the best way for a business to get going, developing a strategy, or maybe rethinking their strategy and weaving in all the elements that GenAI requires them to do now?
Yeah, thank you. Look, let me pass on in a second to you, Markus. One comment from my end, I think there's always a discussion. Well, AI strategy, of course, needs to be linked to the company strategy. Yeah, so if there's no company strategy, it's a little bit more difficult to create an AI strategy, and you still can go get going. Yeah. Then, secondly, there are a lot of kind of frameworks and principles, and you can of course use ChatGPT for that. That only helps you so much. Yeah. So of course you need the expertise both on the strategy side, the leadership side, and the technology side. Yeah, to bring that together and to make that happen. And this is kind of where we typically then come in. And we created our own to support that, our own AI strategy framework. Markus, over to you on that.
Yes. So as you know, our company is called BTO, which stands for Beyond the Obvious. And as every good company, we love our logo. So we start playing around with the letters B, T, and O, and it created a framework where we would like to introduce the letter B today. The B stands for blueprint. Blueprint is exactly what Michael just described. Number one, you need to align your AI strategy with your overarching company strategy. Hopefully you have one. I'm just dealing with one company who doesn't have an overarching strategy. So Michael is laughing from his consulting life. You have seen that many times. So don't assume that something you wrote on a napkin over lunch is a strategy. That is maybe something you believe is the right path. But what we talk about is what everyone in the company would be able to explain in a few words when you meet them over lunch, for example. The second part is really that you understand how mature you are in your area, understand where you are in your journey. Level one is we hardly can spell out AI and GenAI. Level 5 in our model is every conversation starts with GenAI or AI, or even is led by GenAI, AI, and then we approach it with the human approach. And the last part is really the right choice of use cases. And with this, I would like to hand over to Rob for a moment. Rob, if we think back what you just mentioned, the first part is in Blueprint is align with the strategy, second is maturity, and third is the right use cases. What are the biggest problems you see nowadays, or the biggest best practices?
Well, I think the use cases is always a good place to start to bring confidence to your leaders. Well, it sounds great. Who else has done it already? And we talked about last time whether you want to be the first mover or whether you want to actually sit back and wait for others to do it. So the use case is building confidence and the art of what can be done. The big question that comes up again and again, Markus, I'm finding is how close does the use case you present need to be to their actual business, whether you're talking about the geography, well, there are some cultural differences here, or we've got some legislation which is preventing us from doing things, or indeed the sector, how close to this is business to the sector. And what I found again and again, sort of pre-AI, was breaking down this premonition that you have to have a competitor with a use case to derive any value. Actually, what we need to do is to lift and adapt and shift. So looking more broadly at the use case and the way that it's the actual problem that the use case solves, and then using some imagination to see, okay, well, how can we flex that principle and then overlay our own regulatory issues or our own geographic considerations or language issues to make that fully relevant. So use cases come up again and again. I'd see that we need to reframe how we're using those use cases, but it does help to unlock or to build support where maybe it's lacking, and to open the door for people looking at these use cases to think, well, we could make this more relevant by, and give them a chance to bring their own ideas in. And what I found again and again is that that's a great way. If they can start this process, they then start to take some ownership. And when they're more vested in that process, they're more likely to be on your side of the table.
Michael, your thoughts?
Yeah, I think excellent thinking and experience. And I just would like to add one additional view perspective. So there's a tension, that you kind of jump in, and I mentioned Mind Studio before, so it's relatively easy to get started. So, but on the other hand, if you don't have a framework and an AI strategy in place, you might get lost. So somehow you need to make sure that you actually also deliver value. That's probably more important than ever before. So there's a lot of mini projects, initiatives in this area which don't deliver value. They look great on a proposal level, but then they stall, they are not scaling, all these things. So it's different to some extent from previous, let's say, technologies and approaches. And of course, there's a lot of similarity. So one of the challenges is of an AI strategy, and it goes into the area of leadership, by the way, which is also part of that, is figuring out what is different, what's new, and what's like similar to before, and balance that out and reflect that accordingly, so that you address, okay, so these agents, they have maybe some autonomy, they work differently, so you have to incorporate them into the processes, you have to have a workflow thinking, and at the same time, change management is very similar to as it has been before. So that's kind of some ideas around that. Markus, does it resonate? Any builds from your side?
Yeah, absolutely. And let's wrap up with a summary of what we discussed today. Well, number one, Michael introduces a new technology or tech news and evolving tech every time, every week. We see now that more and more solutions are not necessarily new, but they're enhancing. They're getting better month by month by month. So probably over the next couple of months and years, Michael, it would be fair to say that the best are separating from the not so good ones, maybe. Secondly, you hear words from us like agents and use cases and aligning with a strategy. Don't worry about this if this is all a little bit overwhelming. We are very happy to support you in that, and it's not magic. What is the key, and allow me to quote a IT and ITC professor from the Singapore Management University I interviewed today, is to understand that not every AI must be implemented immediately. Sometimes the good old Excel, if you really know how to use it, which is automation as well, is good enough for you. But for another area, maybe in customer relationship management or sales or communications, it could be more advanced. So with that, we would like to inspire you to listen to us for the upcoming T. What is the T in BTO? B today stands for blueprint. Understand your blueprint and define a blueprint. Next week, we'll talk about the T, and we will not reveal what it is today. Rob?
That's a great
final words.
I think that's great, Markus. I think there's a theme both of you have come up with there, which is bringing together some existing ways of thinking and frameworks. Change management has been here for a long time. It's the same principle. We can use that. Your points just there, Markus. So for those who are steeped in ways of working which are being challenged now, this isn't all new. So we can use some of the old thinking, but adapt rather than completely rip up and start again. And I think that will be something which gives confidence to many going through this transition at the moment. So thanks again, Michael, Markus. We'll look forward to our reveal on the T next week. And in the meantime, thanks for your attendance today. I hope you found this valuable. These recordings are all on YouTube if you haven't figured this out just yet. So go and watch those if you've missed any and you'd like to catch up. And we will see you next week. Bye for now.
Bye for now.